G'day nerds, my name's Decky and man, I love Brighter Shores. Things keep popping up every time I play it, new shit here, I'm just like, I love it so far. I've managed to kill 2 bosses and they were quite simple, fun, engaging, and they really fit with the theme of the game. Well, whilst the combat in the game is simple and fairly easy to grasp, there are some things that can be a bit confusing about the game that might not perfectly be explained when you first start playing. So, let's get into what you might be missing with the combat in Brighter Shores. Brighter Shores combat is a click and wait type of system with a choice to change weapons depending on the monster you're fighting. It's kind of reminiscent of when we all played Adventure Quest as kids and we'd be super engaged with that like iconic 2003 side-scrolling chunk game. Guess not a lot have changed. Now, what's not explained to you at all, maybe it is, I did skim through most of the dialogue, I'm an old school RuneScape player after all, is the elemental system that gives the combat its depth. So there are 5 elements and 2 base stats to consider with the combat here. So we've got Cryone for ice, Arbore for nature, Tempeste for lightning, Infernae for fire damage, and Necrome for death damage. We also have 2 really important base skills. These are your HP and Impact, which is basically just armor. So Impact damage is just your pure flat damage that everyone has, and it's calculated against the enemy NPC's flat armor. HP is the same as any game, it's just the amount of damage you need to deal with the enemy to kill them. So when we're thinking about the elements, we have kind of like a Pokemon or rock, paper, scissors system going on here. So ice is weak to lightning, nature is weak to ice, and lightning is weak to nature. These are the 3 elements that you choose from when you choose your faction, so know that you will be weak to a different type of player when PvP comes out, or just a mob, depending on what style they're attacking with. It seems to be a pretty even spread of mobs, what they attack with, so you won't be losing anything by picking a faction. So we've got Hammer Mage, that's lightning, Guardian, that's your nature, and Cryonite, shockingly, is your ice. There are also 2 types of damage that are unrelated to the factions, that's fire and death magic. All these weapons can be found in weapon drops and your armor as well. Now, why is this all important? Well, if you're playing a Cryo Knight and you're trying to fight a thief with frost or ice only weapons, you're gonna have a hard time because thieves are immune to frost damage. Lots of different enemies are immune to the types of damage they deal, but conversely, they will be weak to something else. So don't fight an enemy that is using the same element as the weapon you have on. It's important that you don't have the same type of elemental damage on every single weapon you have. Otherwise, you might be fucked. So if you're having a hard time with a boss or a mob you're grinding, you might need to look at your weapons and see if any of them have an attack type that the mob might be weak to. Their weaknesses can be found by clicking their portrait in the top. On the bottom of the card, it will say, for example, attacks with Tempeste, immune to Tempeste damage, vulnerable to Arbore. So that's the types of damage out the way. What else do we need to know? Well, each weapon type has its own attack speed. Bows attack slower than discs, hammer fists attack faster than a stone mace. This is really important because if you get 2 pieces of gear and they look pretty similar in stats, but you're actually losing damage here. If the stone mace is only a little bit more damage than a hammer fist, you might be better off just going with the hammer fists because they attack faster. There is currently, so far as I can tell, no way to see your attack speed in game. So some of this will have to be trial and error. Just know attack speed exists. Do with that what you will. But if you're still dying to mobs, even though you're using a 2-handed weapon that has high stats and has an attack style that they're vulnerable to, it might be ideal to swap to your 1-hander and your shield when attacking these mobs. Now, I don't actually know if it's the case. This is all just feely craft for me at the moment, but it seems like you don't benefit from your shield armor bonuses if it's not equipped. So even though your stats don't actually change when you swap to your 1-hander, it seems like you do get hit for less. Now, how else can we squeeze a little bit more damage out during a fight? Well, when we're grinding mobs well above our level, we need to think about engaging them as far away from them as possible so we get full use out of our range weapons. This is free damage. You get to damage them and they can't damage you. If they are melee, if they're ranged, good fucking luck. Those vipers in the forest are horrifying. I never want to see them. I always disengage from them. ass cheeks. Alright, and speaking of bonuses, we also have 3 types of damage boosting potions. Again, they're for ice, lightning, and nature. If your damage types only have fire or death types on them, you're shit out of luck, there's nothing here to boost. So these pots should be popped at the start of the battle, right after you've used your initial ranged attack. That way, you're increasing the damage for the max duration of the fight for all your other attacks. These potions only last for 1 battle, so there's no time limit, just runs out when you or the enemy dies. And so far, there's only really been 1 mechanic that will affect you during the game that I have seen, and this is a movement mechanic. When a tile lights up with red lines on it, it's time to move. Don't get hit by this. It will do big damage and will stun you for a short amount of time. Cast time for these spells are really long. You can see the cast bar, it'll be just above their heads, so you'll know how much time you have to get out. Once you're out of the danger, it's a good time to heal up with a potion or get some free extra damage in if you have any ranged ammo left. This is the last thing that I'll also say about the combat. Try to avoid swapping weapons during a fight, especially if your one-handed weapon attacks way faster than your two-handed weapon. If you are taking too much damage while using a two-handed, for example, yes, you should swap to your sword and board to reduce the amount of damage you're taking. But don't keep swapping between the two over and over again. You'll lose a lot of uptime on your attacks if you do. There are some niche cases where this isn't the case, but for the most part, just try to avoid it. And that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day, get a coffee, and stay sleepy. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Give me a comment down below as well. Let me know how you're enjoying Brighter Shores so far. I'm loving it. Let's have a chat. See you in the next one. Bye.